Stop waiting for the perfect moment because it is never going to come. If you are sitting around waiting until you have enough money, until you aren't tired, or until the fear magically disappears, you are wasting your life. The biggest lie we are ever told is that successful people had it all together when they started. They didn't. In this video, we are going to look at the raw truth about what it actually takes to build something from absolute zero when everything around you is crashing down. We will look at why being broke might actually be your biggest secret weapon, how to tap into a layer of energy you didn't know you had, and the exact psychological shift that turns terror into pure fuel. By the end of this, you will see why your current mess is actually the perfect launch pad, but only if you stop hitting snooze on your life today. The comfort trap. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need to be ready. We are told to wait for the right market conditions, wait until we have a solid savings account, or wait until we get a bit more experience. But if you look at the actual data, the greatest stories of success don't start in pristine offices with massive bank accounts. They start in messy garages, tiny apartments, and during moments of absolute desperation. The idea that you need to feel good to do something good is a massive trap. Psychologists call this the intention behavior gap. It is that massive space between knowing what you should do and actually doing it. Most people spend their entire lives stuck in that gap, waiting for a feeling that is never going to arrive. The myth of the right time. The waiting room. People think they are preparing, but they are actually just stalling because stalling feels safe. The perfection illusion. Believing that future you will somehow have more time, more energy, and fewer problems than present you. The energy fallacy. Waiting until you feel fully rested to tackle your biggest goals, ignoring the fact that action actually creates energy. The hidden power of having nothing. When you are broke, you think you are at a massive disadvantage. You look at people with funding, rich parents, or deep pockets and think you can't compete. But having no money forces a strange kind of magic to happen in your brain. It forces you to become highly creative. When a company has a massive budget, they throw money at every single problem. If their marketing sucks, they just buy more ads. If their product is average, they hire more consultants. But when you have $0, you can't throw money at problems. You have to throw your brain at them. You have to learn how things actually work from the ground up. Creativity over capital. Resourcefulness. When you can't buy tools, you learn how to build them or find free workarounds that teach you the real mechanics of the game. Agility. You can change direction in 5 minutes because you don't have a giant ship to turn around or a board of directors to please. True grit. A person with nothing to lose fights a whole lot harder than someone who is comfortable. The $0 advantage. You don't have to worry about losing money, which means you can take risks that would terrify a big company. Every single win is a direct result of your effort, not a paid shortcut. You build a foundation that is incredibly strong because it is built on skill, not just cash. The truth about being tired. Let's be completely honest for a second. You are tired. You work a job, or you study, or you deal with family stuff. And by the time you sit down to work on your own dream, your brain feels like absolute mush. The clock says 10 p.m., your eyes are heavy, and the bed is screaming your name. Here is the secret that nobody wants to admit. Everyone is tired. The person who is winning is just as exhausted as the person who is losing. The only difference is what they do with that exhaustion. The second wind function. Mental fatigue versus physical fatigue. Most of the time, your brain is just bored and overwhelmed, not actually physically spent. The 40% rule. A popular concept used by elite athletes states that when your mind tells you that you are completely done, you have actually only used up about 40% of your true capacity. Action drives motivation. You don't wait for energy to start moving. You start moving to create the energy. Moving while you are scared. Fear is a funny thing because we treat it like a big red stop sign. We think that if we feel scared, it means we are doing something wrong or that we aren't ready. But fear is actually just a biological response to the unknown. Your brain doesn't know the difference between starting a new business and being chased by a wild animal. It just knows that something is different, so it rings the alarm bell. If you wait for the fear to go away before you take action, you will be waiting forever. The fear doesn't disappear when you start. It disappears after you have been doing it for a while. You have to learn to walk with the fear, to let it sit in the passenger seat while you keep your hands firmly on the steering wheel. Redefining the alarm. Fear is a compass. If something terrifies you, it usually means it is exactly what you need to do to grow. The cost of inaction. Start fearing what your life will look like in 5 years if you stay exactly where you are right now. Action destroys anxiety. The moment you take one small step, the monster in your head starts to shrink. The turning point. There comes a moment in every single journey where you have to make a definitive choice. It is the moment where the excuses stop working on you. You can have the excuses, or you can have the results, but you cannot have both. Think about the sheer amount of time we waste overthinking things. We spend weeks planning, researching, and talking about what we are going to do. We create spreadsheets, buy notebooks, and watch endless tutorials. But all of that is just a fancy way of hiding from the work. The only thing that changes your life is execution. A bad plan executed with absolute intensity will beat a perfect plan that never gets started every single time. Shifting from consumer to creator. Stop watching other people live their dreams while you neglect your own. Trade the cheap dopamine of scrolling for the real satisfaction of building something of your own. Accept that the first attempt will probably suck and understand that it is a mandatory part of the process. The blueprint for starting today. You don't need a massive master plan to begin. You just need to figure out the very next step and do it immediately. If you want to write a book, write one paragraph. If you want to start a channel, record a 60-second clip on your phone. If you want to build a business, reach out to one potential customer. Break the giant, terrifying goal down into tiny, ridiculous steps that are so small it is almost impossible to fail at them. Strip away all the drama, all the overthinking, and all the emotional weight you are putting on it. It is just work. It is just putting one foot in front of the other, regardless of how you feel on any given day. The execution strategy. The 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you will just work on the task for 5 minutes. And if you still want to quit after that, you can. You will find that 90% of the time, you keep going. Block the noise. Turn off the notifications, close the extra tabs, and create an environment where focus is the only option. Track the input, not the output. Don't focus on how much money you made or how many views you got today. Focus entirely on whether or not you did the work you promised yourself you would do. The ultimate reality check. At the end of the day, nobody is coming to save you. No one is going to knock on your door with a bag of money, a perfect schedule, and a wave of absolute confidence to hand to you on a silver platter. The rescue squad is not on the way. If you want your life to look different, you are the one who has to change it. Being broke, tired, and scared is not an excuse to stop. It is the exact reason why you need to start right now. Your current struggles are giving you the very psychological armor you will need to survive the bigger challenges later on. If you can build something when everything is working against you, absolutely nothing will be able to stop you once things start going your way. The choice is yours. You can look back a year from now and be glad you started today, or you can look back and wish you had. The time is going to pass anyway, whether you spend it building your dream or making excuses. Your potential is a terrible thing to waste just because the starting line looks a bit messy.